Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. We're back again with another Tower of God, and this time we're really going to be covering something massive. So don't take your eyes off it because Jovial Grace was injured in the last exam. Now, when he was injured, Jin Sang Ha actually comes back to the team and he tells them, "We thought this was fine. We didn't realize how compassionate he was and how dangerous this would be for him. We suggest that you leave him and move on. We're gonna get another team to go up the tower with him instead of you guys. It's better to have it that way because we don't want him to put himself at risk like this ever again." And when they propose this year, we get the idea of what's going on and how afraid they are of Viol being hurt badly. We understand that Jinsang actually has a compassionate side towards Bam, and we given this massive opportunity to understand what's going on through Jinsang Ha's mind. Now there will be one more episode after this that I'm going to explain, and that's going to be when we start one of the more crazy arcs in this entire story. So let's just keep building up to it. So at this point, we understand that Bam is too kind of an individual. He's given Fug a whole 7 more hostages because he's made this other group of friends. And we get a little bit more of an insight into what exactly happened to Bam when Fug took him. So when Fug first took him, we see that in the first 5 days he refused to cooperate with Fug, and he refused to give up on Rachel, believing that she just was tricked by Han Sang most likely. And Han Sang says, "You know what, okay, we're done with this. Yeah, we're done with trying to be nice with you, so fine, we're not going to ask you to be a slayer anymore. We're going to kill one of your friends each time you refuse. Yeah, we'll literally just take them out. It's so easy for us. We can just murder them like they're nothing." In the moment of that, remember, Bam's greatest fear isn't death. It is to be alone or to lose his friends. So for that day, he ends up devoting to what they say, and they tell him, if you hesitate, one of them die. If you fail an exam, one of them die. If you don't do as you are told, one of them die. Bam instantly begins to listen to what they had said, and he follows exactly to the instruction. He follows everything they say from that point onwards. His martial arts teacher is brought to him, and he is Jinsang Ha. Now, Jinsang Ha is an old member from Fug. The reason he is a member of Fug is there was a woman he was in love with, and she was sold to another member of his family, and they ended up doing some brutal things to her, and he ended up murdering the entire family. Now, Jinsang Ha and Yuri Jahad are from the same branch family. They are from a family from 2 of the 10 great warriors lines, from the Ha and the Ari family. Now, I don't know enough about the Ari family. I just know that they're one of the families. They related to another one of the 10 great families, which will come into play later in this chapter. Remember, this chapter 2, this season 2, carries on for a very long time. I'm actually not even sure it's going to take 10 episodes to cover all of it, because there's so much in it and I don't want to do it injustice. Even in summarizing it in 30-minute episodes per one of those scenes just doesn't feel like that would be justice enough, so I'm going to break it up as much as possible to give it a lot more of an interesting arc. This is the best arc in all of Tower of God, so brace yourselves from here on out. So Jinsang Ha ends up becoming his teacher, and when he looks at Bam, he just feels, this is a regular boy. How can we be so cruel and brutal to him? Remember, he killed his own family. How can we be so brutal to him? And it's burning him in his heart that, this isn't the right person. This isn't the right thing for them to do to him. And he teaches Bam the floral butterfly piercing technique, and he gives him a little taste of it by hitting him with the attack, so that he understands the pain and how the concentration works with the Shinsu. Bam stands up and he gets ready to start using it when Harwan comes down, and she resets this training doll that can only be broken with the piercing technique. Now, as far as Jinsang is concerned, it's going to take him years to train this kid. He's not even going to catch this technique, and this door can't be even scratched without using the piercing technique. So the door is set up by Harwin, and Bam starts attacking it. And when Jinsang is going down, he sees Harwin. He's like, "What are you doing? Did you just go to check up on him?" He says, "No, he seemed bored, so I rebuilt the door." And he's like, "What is wrong with you people? It's just an ordinary boy. He's gonna die. The doll will kill him. You can't learn the piercing technique so quickly. It will take you years." And he starts running to get there to save him. And when he gets there, what shocks Jinsang and why he realizes how dangerous and how much potential Bam has is Bam has already started damaging this golem. There's cracks and fragmented damage all over. He may not have enough power, but it definitely is strong enough to hurt this monster, this door. Sorry. And when he looks at it, he's like, definitely this is the person who can grant us our wishes. And he asks him, "What is it that you want?" And he tells him, "Don't do it for us. Don't do it because of that. Whatever you want, remember you will get it one day. We'll give you everything that we can within reason. Woman, power, wealth, you name it, you're gonna get all of those things from us." And he says the only thing he wants is not to be alone. It's the only thing that he is truly afraid of. He wants to be back with his friends. He wants to be more powerful so this never happens to him again. And Jinsang is like, "Fine, we'll make you powerful. We'll make you a god. We'll make you a slayer." So that's what happens, and that's how Bam ended up in Fug. And we get the idea that Jinsang really cared for him. And when he was leaving the floor of tests, the second floor, Jinsang gave him this message: "Do whatever is best for you. Don't bother about our wishes." So you can see that Jinsang is heartbroken about what he's done to this kid. His entire being has been altered just by his interaction with Jovial Grace. And that is exactly where it ends up. So yeah, that's what happens to Viol, and that's how come Jinsang has such a close relation with him. Now moving on, we get back to what happened on that floor, and Wagnan is basically taking this message through to the rest of the team that they need to leave and fragment the team with Jovial Grace right away so they don't put him in danger any further. And Prince, Arc Raptor give the whole story about why they want to stay with him, and Wagnan says, "You don't even understand how much I want to be in a team with this guy." Sorry about that. "You don't even understand how much I want to be in a team with this guy." And they end up having their own little argument, and they finally decide in the end that they're going to try and get Viol to his old teammates. They're going to climb the tower and they'll do whatever is necessary to make sure that his teammates don't die. And Wagnan ends up asking Harwin how can he get him to his teammates. And Harwin's like, "I'm a member of FUG. I'm one of those who are making sure that he becomes a slayer, so why are you asking me?" And Wagnan answers, "Well, guides only tell people who can take a path about a path that is available, and it's their duty. So you already told me that because you knew. So why don't you just give me the path?" And Harwin immediately tells him exactly what is needed to be done. He needs to keep climbing the tower till he enters the workshop battle on the 30th floor of the tower. There, Jovial Grace will meet his friends, and they need to rush because the next match is in a few years. Now, from the time Sweet and Sour is made until they reach the 30th floor is 5 years, right? So that's all you need to know. Now we're going to go back to Kun. Now I'm going to keep it on Jovial Grace because there's not really any reason to focus on anyone else. Kun and his team keep climbing up the tower. At this time, he has the following members as part of his team: Lightbearer Kun, Lightbearer Michelle Light, aka Rachel, Scout Lighthouse User Apple, Wave Controller Michael, Spear Bearer Gawateng, Spear Bearer Kun Ran, Defender type situation with the next individual Spear Bearer Novik, and last but not least, Scout Dan. Now, each member of his team is unbelievably powerful, and we get a little introduction to them when they are first introduced back in the start of that situation where we started off with Kun. Now, at this point, we get a little bit of an introduction to the team, and when Dan is being introduced, Novik explains to him the exact situation with Rachel, and that he should never ever tease or say anything inappropriate in front of Kun, because Kun will chop off his finger if he ever says anything in the way that he did, because Rachel isn't his lover. Rachel isn't someone who he admires, it's someone who he hates, because she killed his best friend in this tower. She took away something from him that can never ever be given back, because he had a really bad life. In the Kun family, it's not a nice life, and what happened there really scarred him. He's really not in a very good place, so if you agitate him, he's going to hurt you badly. Moving on from this, we end up meeting the rest of the team, and we then introduced to an idea of how powerful this team is. Novik and Kun Ran are amongst the top 10 E-rank regulars, but Ran himself is in the top 5 strongest E-rank regulars. The top 5 strongest E-rank regulars are Baragav, the Mad Dog of Yama, Enderosi Jahad, Anak Jahad, Sheng, and last but not least, Ran Kun. So we've got the top 5 E-rank regulars, then following down from them, Novik is likely in the top 10. That's how powerful this team is. To have 2 of the top 5 E-rank regulars means two of the top 10 means this team is almost unbeatable. They're really powerful. They have one of the fastest scouts on their team who hasn't been caught on any lighthouse up till the floor they're on, that says that he's unbelievably quick, unbelievably dangerous as a scout. So that makes him a really good member to the team. They have a unique scout in the form of Apple, because she can actually use a lighthouse. That makes her skill even more different from the regular scouts. They have Michael, who is a wave controller, very powerful, most definitely. And this entire team is going up the tower as well. Now, at this point, we get the idea of how powerful they are. And a whole lot of things happen in between, a little bit of comic relief, a little bit of seriousness within them. And eventually, they start climbing the tower again with Rachel, and they make it up to the 29th floor. Now, on the 29th floor, they see something on their box which tells them that someone who they've been looking for, the Devil's right arm, otherwise known as Cassino Benjamin, is currently in a place in this area where they are called Arlene's Hand. And Kun actually wants to fight Cassino to see whether his team can make up for the difference in power between his old team from the test floor, that's Hats, Anak, Enderosi, Shibisu. Those are the 4 that we know who are still there from the original team. Whether they can actually compare to them, because Hats actually lost to Cassino, which was a very, very shocking thing, even though the team still passed the test. So they wanted to take him on to see whether or not their team is actually anywhere near that level. So moving forward, they decide they're going to go and they're going to hunt him. The team is supposed to go as a whole team, but in the end it only ends up being Novik and Ran who end up going with Kun to take on the Devil's right arm, Cassino Benjamin Banaman, whatever his name is. I'm just going to keep it up as Cassino. Now, there's something to note. Cassino and Hurang are from the same situation. They actually like brothers, but I'll get into it in a little bit as I explain the rest of the story, because things are about to get unbelievably complicated from here. This is where the story goes from level up to power level over 9,000 to Frieza level saga 1 million and just growing crazy at that rate. So yeah, I'm using a Dragon Ball Z reference in case you didn't know. Alright, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Team Sweet and Sour refuse the advice of Jin Sang Ha, saying that they will take Viol with them and they will continue climbing up the tower. Once talking it out, they decide that they're not going to do anything about it, and another Slayer, Karaka, who is a new Slayer in one of the Slayer positions, decides that it is not for their best interest to leave Viol with such unqualified teammates. At this point, Jin Sang tells Karaka that this is none of his business, he should leave the kid to him, and that Grace would be really upset if he interferes in the situation. So we know that's Grace Michelle Lazlak, and basically they leave it alone at that situation. Team Sweet and Sour keep climbing the tower till they reach the 29th floor advancement exam. In this advancement exam, they end up facing off against another team. The team includes Cheng. Now Cheng Sheng is from one of the top 5 E-rank regulars on the floor. Definitely Viol is most likely the strongest regular in E-class. There's not even a question about it, he's most definitely that powerful. And when he enters into this entire situation, they end up running around on that floor and they start fighting basically for the advancement test, which is basically this battle where the one team has to reach a point and open a chest in order to win, or the other team has to kill the key holder, take the key and open the chest to win the game for themselves. Now on this team, there's only 2 people of real note. Number 1 is Cheng and number 2 is Quattro Blitz. Now we've met Quant before, but Quattro is also another crazy flame user. Quattro is a real fast individual, and he has a love for just burning everything. He's an absolute insane individual, to say the least. So yeah, that's all I'm going to introduce about him. And they end up chasing Wagner, and the rest of the team butchers their team like a joke because they fall into easy traps. And finally, Wagner is cornered by Cheng and Quattro, and the person who comes to save him is Bomb. And when Bomb arrives, it's basically Jovial Grace versus these two. So Quattro decides to take Jovial Grace first, saying, I bet you haven't seen this before, I can use 3 Bang. Now 3 Bang is a massive thing. A Bang is basically the way in which they control Shinsu as a wave controller. But controlling one is really difficult. It's like controlling a third arm, and controlling an additional 3 is like controlling an additional 3 arms with perfect precision with your other arm still moving around. And he's like, yeah, I can control 3 bang at a time. And Bomb just instantly generates 5, and you just see Quattro like, oh man, I need 2 more. Bang, he gets hit, and that's how Quattro gets taken out. And he is unbelievably talented for a wave controller to control 3. But for Bomb, he's just another monster altogether. To control 5 is absolutely unheard of. It's something that you won't even hear of as we keep climbing the tower through the rest of the members, as we go through a lot of the others. His level of control is crazy. Okay, moving on to the next thing, which is perpetuated from this situation. Finally, Cheng jumps into this fight and he's about to take on Jovial Grace. And as he's about to take him on, the rest of Sweet and Sour's pitch up and they're like, yeah, we've already defeated the rest of your team. So are you guys going to fight? Because Cheng already stole the key, but he needs to get the team out of the way so he can open the box. And he looks at it, it's the full team, and he's like, no, I'd rather not. He tosses the key to Bomb's team, and then he tells Bomb, why don't we have a test to see who's the strongest between us? If I win, I get the key, your team has to forfeit. If you win, your team keeps the key, and you get the bragging rights to say that you're one of the top 5 E-rank regulars. Bomb instantly says, I don't fight unless I have to. And Cheng basically calls him a coward at this point. So yeah, that's basically where we are in this entire situation. Now Cheng has a little bit of a history with Bomb. So yeah, that's all we really need to know. Not with Bomb, sorry, with Kun. and it's a long story. You'll get to know it later on as we get into the story. So at this point, they end up leaving it, and on the lighthouse, which Gawaseng is looking at, because Gawaseng is a light bearer, she ends up seeing a wing just like Hurang's. And here Hurang looks at the lighthouse and is like, that's Casanova. And then they end up finding out the whole story. Casanova and Ilma are weapons from the workshop. Now, I'm going to get into this in the next episode. Weapons from the workshop and everything that leads up to the 30th floor, where we finally get to enter the workshop battle. The workshop battle will be broken up into each individual event. I am not going to go and squeeze it all together all in one, because there is way too much in there. There is so much going on in that little segment that if I were to squeeze it out into a single segment, it's going to ruin the story. So I hope that I do it justice, because if I'm not, Yurik freaking Mazzino is coming for me, man. Yurik Mazzino. Catch you all then. Have a good day.